We now have a very special presentation for you. I'd like to introduce Denver Police Corporal Anthony Wilkerson. He's a 10-year veteran training officer currently assigned to the Denver International Airport, handling special criminal investigations. Corporal.
Good morning. I bring greetings to you from the Denver Police Department by way of colorful Colorado, which, by the way, right now is not very colorful because it's a whopping 36 degrees there in the blizzard conditions. So while my coworkers are freezing right now, I'm so thankful to God that I'm here with you guys. As public servants, we do a plethora of things. We save lives. We get the bad guy. And then we provide awesome customer service. But regardless of what you do throughout the day, at the end of the day, our goal is to what? Go home safely to our loved ones. I want to share a story with you today about a good friend of mine, a brother in blue as well, who didn't get that opportunity to go home after his shift. On December 13th, just this recent December, 4 officers were assigned to the Colfax corridor, which is one of our busiest corridors, to assist a group of students who were protesting the Ferguson shooting. All 4 of these officers were on bikes. While they were out there doing their patrol, as they entered from a side street onto Colfax, there was a full-door Mercedes-Benz that was red ball, stopped at a red light. While these officers were turning on to Colfax, the engine began to rev up, and the wheels canted to the right. Next thing you know, the Mercedes-Benz took off from the red light and headed in the direction of the 4 officers. First officer was hit, knocked off of his bike. The second officer was hit, knocked off of his bike. The third officer. And then the last officer, which was the fourth one, was for my friend, he was hit. The force of the hit put him on top of the vehicle. At that particular time, he slid from the front of the vehicle, ended up underneath the vehicle, was drugged several hundred feet, on the pavement, through glass, through rope. As the vehicle continued to accelerate, it headed towards a cement barrier, the construction area. At that point in time, it ran my buddy up over the cement barrier, went up his back, over the top of his head, and left him there resting like this, lifeless. The paramedics, God bless you, love you to death, who responded first, thought he was dead. As you look back, you see the blood trickling down from underneath his helmet. No signs of life from him. Everybody that saw him that night thought for sure he wasn't going to make it. But by the grace of God and the safety gear that he was wearing that day, John lived. And so, because he was able to live, John felt compelled and thought it was his duty to share with every officer that ever gets on the bike his story. So please meet John Adsit.
December 3rd of 2014, I was riding a bike along with several of my partners. This particular day was, from what I remember, was a pretty nice day in December. We get a call from my sergeant. He's like, all right, there's a march going on, and we're gonna be involved in helping with this thing. And so we ran back to our garage and got prepared to go out. We were responsible for kind of the lead of this march. So we're on mountain bikes and doing our thing. Again, it was just such a beautiful day, and we end up getting released to go back to our normal assignment. And you know, we turn around and we start heading back to the downtown area. And you know, I don't remember the accident. I do remember my partner in the ambulance, which I didn't realize I was in an ambulance, but I remember him giving me encouraging words and letting me know that I was going to make it. I remember hearing the, the acceleration of the ambulance and the sirens and all of that. My left arm was completely crushed. Lost my spleen, this leg. It was bleeding out pretty bad. The artery was severed, but they were able to save the leg. Crushed ribs, big old rod in my femur, and got hardware pretty much everywhere. I kind of went into my own world of what I thought was going on, and kind of a dream world. I know people have different views. I didn't see a bright light. I didn't see things like that. It was a battle from the very beginning. I truly believe that in what I was going through, I had an opportunity to give up. I was asked numerous times in this dream world, to basically give up, and I told him, you're gonna have to kill me. I'm not letting go. I chose to fight. Hi, my name's John Adsit, and I have been a Denver police officer for 10 years now, working primarily in the downtown area. During that time, I've primarily ridden a bike, a mountain bike, and I've enjoyed every moment of that. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you all today. It is my hope that my story may help you all when it comes to safety in your departments, and may possibly save a life down the road. After the accident took place, I was immediately rushed to the hospital and stayed there in the ICU for a month, basically on a induced coma. During that time, my wife and kids were notified about the accident and rushed to my side, and as well as many of my other friends and family members. They were scared for me, and they weren't sure that I was going to make it. After about a month in the ICU, I started coming to, and again was told numerous times that the helmet that I'd been wearing that day saved my life. Doctor after doctor would come in and talk to me, and they were all amazed at such a miraculous outcome for such a tough situation. That afternoon, I was wearing a well-made burn helmet. I truly believe that at the very least it saved my head and the mental capacities that could have been so easily affected in such a devastating accident. Although the helmet saved me, it didn't save a lot of the rest of my body from some significant injuries. My right femur was broken. My left leg had an artery that was severed and needed an artificial graft to save the leg. My left arm was completely crushed and took several surgeries to fix and repair with metal. My ribs were crushed, and my ribs were plated with metal, and due to the fact that the ribs themselves were crushed into such small pieces, the impact to my ribs created such force up into my head that my eyes took a serious blow and created blood clots in my eyes, causing some permanent damage to both of my retinas in my eyes. I tell you that to let you know that it wasn't just, I didn't walk out of this thing unscathed. After about a month in the ICU, I spent another 2 months in the hospital, and then a couple weeks in the rehab portion of the hospital so that I could get home. Since getting home, it's been a constant barrage of doctor's appointments and PT appointments, and just with the goal of getting back as soon as I possibly can. Sometimes that can be tough mentally, to wake up in the morning and hope that everything's like it used to be, and hope that you're headed back to work and realizing that that's just not the case right now. I have years of physical therapy and recuperating from this accident that I will have ahead of me. I'm just grateful, though, for the opportunity to have a chance to rehab and to work through my injuries instead of the alternative of not being here at all, for my family, for my kids. I've been married for almost 18 years to my beautiful wife, Michelle, and we've got 4 beautiful kids, 3 girls and a boy. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to see a little bit more of their lives. I guess my reason for speaking to you all today, whether you're a part of the rank and file or whether you're the chief of police at your department, is to realize that if you have bicycle officers out there, just like you would wear your vest, your bulletproof vest every single day to save lives, the importance of a well-structured and well-built helmet, it saved my life. So just wearing a helmet isn't enough. Not all helmets are the same, and there are companies out there that spend a significant amount of time and research and money to make sure that they put out something that's going to save lives. It's also my goal as a police officer is to save lives. In this case, it saved my own. What I would hope is that you would do your due diligence and look closely at the safety specifications that the helmets that you do purchase have. I know that the extra budget that you put towards this equipment is completely worthwhile and could very easily save your officers down the road. They may not be hit by a car, but there's bike accidents all the time that happen, unfortunately, and protecting our head is critical. I've been told this before, you only get one head, and I know that, and I'm glad that mine was kept intact in this situation by having a very, very well-built helmet on. I was also wearing my vest, which I do believe helped me from sustaining even further injuries to my midsection of my body. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of your conference, and please stay safe out there as you do your job, which is so important to the communities that you work for.
I know John's probably going to be upset with me for telling you guys this, but because he's stubborn. And I'm glad he's stubborn, because that allowed him to live. But the John you see there now is not the John before this incident. Obviously, he's lost a lot of weight. He can't breathe very well because of the titanium plates that's in his rib area. He will never work as a Denver police officer again. They're going to have to medically retire. That day, before he got on his bike, he had the regular standard bicycle helmet on. The other 3 officers were wearing that bird helmet. And they said, John, before you put that helmet on, why don't you be uniform with the rest of us? He's like, no, it's hot outside. I want to wear this helmet. We need to look uniform. Going in front of a protest, maybe can't put the other helmet on. Right before they got ready to ride out that day, he switched the helmet to the burn helmet. And he lived. Like you said, you only got one move, and you need to protect it. John will never be able to play those guitars you saw behind him. He had a record deal that was coming up right before this incident started. He won't be ski-boarding with his kids anymore. He won't be running a straight activity, lifting weights like he used to. And he wanted me to make sure that all of you guys heard his message, heard it clearly. You may not be hit by a vehicle, that's right. But anything can happen. But just make sure that you have the proper gear on. Spend the extra money, the extra time to protect yourself so that we don't have to watch another one of these videos. I pray God's hedge of protection on each and every one of you. John said he loves you, and we thank you for your opportunity.
Anthony, thank you for that powerful message and sharing John with us today. We really appreciate it.